Hello, I'm Nur Anis Farihan binti Muhammad Samsudin. My metric number is S47263. Today I'm doing a report on article review. Title of the article is Cotton, Slavery and the New History of Capitalism. Throughout my entire reading of the article, it's clear that the article focused on the rise of industrial capitalism on the productions of cotton by American slaves. There are three authors that mishandle historical, mischaracterize important events that affect the interpretations on the nature of slavery. The working of plantation, the importance of cotton and slavery in the broader economy and the sources of the industrial revolutions and world development. Swan buckets. This book presents an international account of the causes and consequences of the industrial relation, but it does so focusing exclusively on cotton. His great strength is his account of spread of the Industrial Revolution throughout the world as it followed the adoptions of new textile machinery. Beckett's account is consistent with Polanyi idea. Beckett argued that Europeans' power colonial empire, relying heavily on the violent expropriations of indigenous people on slavery and constitute an early phase of capitalism that he called war capitalism. His main argument, industrial relation and industrial spawn made positive capitalism. Beckett come out theory, domination, military, trade and expropriations. Beckett's argument, the fortune made in slave and on sugar plantation in Caribbean created a source of finance for the innovation in cotton textile production at the center of industrial revolution. The trading network within the colonial empire were critically important. Research by economic historian David Altis and Stanley Egerman conclude that relative to the other industry, at the time of Industrial Revolution, the total value added and growth-inducing linkage of the British slave trade and Caribbean slave period were not particularly large. Most importantly, it showed originated in the creations and wide range of technologies. Walter Johnson, River of Dark Dreams, Slavery and Empire in the Cotton Kingdom. This book describes economy life in antebellum Mississippi River Delta in detail. The analysis focuses on cultural interpretations of economic behavior, and the book vividly describes many spectacles. One major problem is the repeated claim by Johnson that the planting and productivity were measured by a calculation of bells per hand per acre, which as Gavin Wright's note, does not make either mathematical or economic sense. It is telling that these mischaracterizations of productivity measurement ultimately makes little differences for the book's argument. Johnson only concerned with general implications of slave. Edward Baptist, The Half Has Never Been Told, Slavery and the Making of American Capitalism. This book seeks to challenge the perception that slavery was somehow separate from the rest of the economy, arguing instead that slavery was crucial to the development of American capitalism. It also seeks to tell the story of cotton slavery in a way that focuses on the lived experience on the enslaved people, cruelties, weakness. The lack of engagement with the work of economic historians lead these authors to make assertions that have been conclusively refuted. Each of these books argues that slavery depended on the acquisitions of new territory for its survival or at least for its economy vitally. The lack of engagement with economy historian limited analytical perspective of each of these books. Most seem aware of Robert Fogel and Stanley Egerman's Time on the Cross, and some repeat its argument about the profitability of slavery and especially plantations. Recommendation. The NHC literature raises or renew questions about the operations of slave trading as an economic activity and the role of property rights in slave as financial assets. Conclusion. These three books serve as an interesting counterpoint to the economic history literature on slavery. Whereas the economic history literature sought to investigate the sources of productivity in slave agriculture, the historian of capitalism emphasized the suffering that accompany productivity gained. Each of these books would have been more compelling and better work of history if they had engaged with the economic history literature more fully. Thank you. That's all.